So there's a lot of ways to get the documents in. Now we're going to talk about how do you get them out, right? So once they're stored in PaperSave, how do you get to them? Well, PaperSave, because of our tight integration, we have a natural, PaperSave is like a natural extension to your working environment inside of GP. And so we're going to go and I'm going to navigate. I'm going to show you how to do some searches and how to get to the documents. I'm also going to show you how you can get to what are called interrelated documents. And then I'm also going to talk to you about the security and the audit trail around documents. Because remember, that's all document management, right? The capturing it, the storing it, the retrieval of it, and the security and retention around that. And now let's talk about retrieving the documents. So keep in mind, PaperSave, just like document management with all of those integration points, right, that we have, you're going to be able to store the documents and capture them just like I did, but you're also going to be able to get to them, right? So let's first go to maybe that payables transaction that I just created. Now, I know that there are a lot of ways to navigate around GP. I'm going to go this way so I can get to that payables transaction that I just created. We're going to scroll all the way down. I apologize. I've got a lot of them. There we go. And this was this attractive telephone. Now, when I open up this transaction, look at this bubble here. This is PaperSave. It's telling you, hey, there's a document related to this transaction. Do you want to see it? If I do, I simply click on it and PaperSave opens. And I can see the document. If this document had been through a workflow, I'd see that too. And I'll open up one that's been through a workflow in just a second. But one of the things that I want you to see about the audit trail, what I mean by that is PaperSave is tracking who added the document and who viewed the document. It's capturing my Active Directory name. That's me. I'm logged in. And so it's tracking all of that. So think about if you have other people that can access documents. And listen, I'm showing you ways to get to them through Dynamics GP. PaperSave also will allow individuals who aren't GP users to access those documents. But today we're talking about that. But if I have the ability to, let's say, email this out as an attachment, right? Well, PaperSave is going to put this document as an attachment here, and I can send this off to, you know, whomever, right? Whoever it is, send that off. Now, what I've done is I have duplicated that document because it was an attachment. Well, PaperSave, again, through that audit trail, is telling the system that I actually emailed that document out. Now, had I chosen to email it out as a link, maybe to somebody internally who I haven't given, oops, let me choose the right one here, as a link, who I haven't given the rights to do their own inquiry, I can do that without having to duplicate that because it's just a hyperlink right back into the document. So when they get the email, they're going to click on it. PaperSave is going to launch for them, and it's going to open up that document. Okay. So that's navigating. Oops, I think I clicked on the link multiple times, so I apologize. We'll close that up here. And we'll close that up. Oops, I did. I clicked on it multiple times, so it's trying to load it multiple times here for me. All right, we'll close that up. Now, one of the things that PaperSave also does is what's called multi-association. Multi-association is the relationship of documents to one another. So think about somebody wants to know all of the invoices that a certain vendor has paid. Well, with Paper, they want to see them. With PaperSave, all I have to do is navigate to that vendor. And let's go ahead and we'll go to Butler Buckley here. Again, here's my bubble. If I click here, I'm only going to see the documents related to the vendor record. So maybe like that terms and conditions, or I added that W-4, which is a tax document here in the States. But if I want to see all the documents, like you walk over to the network filing cabinet and you pull out the full file folder on Butler Buckley, well, great. I can do that with PaperSave. I come up to additional and I say, show associated documents. And what PaperSave, very quickly, you can see it's pulled all of the documents that are associated to the vendor documents. So I've got a lot of vendor documents. And then you can see I've got payable transactions, I've got payments, I might even have some POs and shipment invoices. I've got all of these documents. Well, if I only want to see payables, great, let's narrow this down and contains payables, right? Now I've taken that stack of documents and I've narrowed it down to 156. Well, I can click on this right here and I can flip through them one at a time, like a slideshow. Now these first ones looks like they're correspondence, which is fine. And I can flip through them. This is an Excel spreadsheet that I added at one point in my days. But I can flip through them and see all the documents that are related to Butler Buckley. So here's an invoice. There's another spreadsheet that has been added. I also can see workflow. But every time I look at these documents, I'm seeing, again, the workflow, if it went through a workflow process. It's also tracking every time I've looked at this, right, and opened it. But I can flip through it. I also have the ability, again, to email those documents out, or better yet, I can export them out into an Excel spreadsheet. So if somebody who is not able to do their own inquiry wants to see the documents, well, great, I can do that. They don't have access to GP. We haven't given them the rights to do their own inquiry in PaperSave. So let's export this out into an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to take very quickly 156 documents. They're in a spreadsheet. I can now email this spreadsheet over to whomever in my office. And as long as they have the permissions inside of PaperSave, well, great. They can see all of the valuable information in terms of event invoice number, invoice date, and all of that. And then they have a hyperlink to click right into the document and see it. So again, right along the toolbar, they can go in and see that document. Or excuse me, not the toolbar, the hyperlink, right? And see that document. All right. So that was navigating to, and here's the workflow. I haven't shown a workflow, but this is a workflow audit trail. It tells you where that document was, who approved it, who submitted it. So workflows can be pretty simple like this, one approver, one submitter, but it could be very intricate as well. And we're going to talk more about workflow next week. So that was navigating to a vendor, right? And seeing the documents for one vendor. But what happens if somebody wants to know what invoices a certain payment represents? Well, with PaperSave, again, different navigation, right? I can go into my transactions, and again, we're going to pick on Butler Buckley, and I'm going to open up, let's say, this payment transaction. Now, remember, PaperSave can capture an image of the checks, right? So if I click on that, what am I going to see? I'm just going to see the image of the check. Okay, now just a little teaser, another little teaser for the upcoming weeks. We actually have a workflow around payments. You can get to the document from the payment transaction, but what transactions are related to payments? Those payable transactions, those receiving transactions, a lot of them, right? Well, again, PaperSave, if I come up to additional, I can say show associated documents. And so now, again, what do I get to see? I get to see the payment, the actual image of the check. Maybe it's not the actual image. Maybe it's a dummy check that went through a workflow. We can do that too. And then I get to see the corresponding transactions documents. So this is one of the invoices. It went through a workflow that is related to that payment. Again, I always have the ability of, if you have the rights, you can always reproduce it. Again, if you have the rights, PaperSave is always doing that audit trail, right? And you can see how many times I've looked at this one, a lot. And then I always have the ability, again, if I have the rights, to export out into an Excel spreadsheet with those hyperlinks. So PaperSave is consistent regardless of where you are and how you got to the documents to be able to do all of those things. All right. One of the things that I'm going to talk about here at the end is retention. I know that, again, that is pretty important when you think about managing your documents. And PaperSave allows you to set up retention policies around your documents. So again, it's going to help you manage the storage of your documents. As I mentioned before, I was an accounts payable admin many years ago, but one of the things that I remember doing every year was emptying out the filing cabinet, putting all of those invoices and payment stubs and all of that into banker boxes, and off they went into the warehouse. Well, when the audit came, where did I have to go? I had to go to the warehouse and do the retrieval. Well, PaperSave is going to allow you to, well, do the retrieval a lot easier, but it's also going to allow you to maintain those filing cabinets, electronic filing cabinets, and set retention rules up based on how long you're supposed to keep documents. Remember, we can store journal entries, we can supporting documents to journal entries, bank reconciliations, payments, invoices, purchase orders, correspondence, and you want to set rules around how long you want to keep those. Well, they all can be very different. PaperSave can run those rules on a daily basis at a specific time, and then either archive or purge those documents. So when it comes down to being able to manage those documents and maintain those documents, that's what PaperSave is going to allow you to do.